Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back here. The game has been fixed today. The loot update has happened. It fixed everything back to the way it was. You're seeing 300,000 in loot as maximum in the higher ranking areas, and everything else has jumped way back up again, which is great. So if you're seeing any disparities, if you're not seeing a loot fix, if you're still seeing the extremely low amount of loot that people were seeing, yesterday and the day before, only in the last 2 days. If that is still appearing, please let us know down in the comment section here, and we'll try and figure out what's going on with your game. If your loot is low, it's just like before. You do want to refill your silo by buying gems or waiting some time. So we're going to try and attack William over here. He has a very interesting base, and I haven't been able to attack him before. He doesn't appear to be using all his towers, but it's still very, very high in the rankings, in the leaderboards, and a lot has to do with the fact that when you have such high-level towers, like 1 or 2, max level towers, those things are a beast. They do tons and tons of damage. They have tons and tons of life. It's hard to take them down. So, just having 1 or 2 max towers is enough to, catapult you way up into the leaderboards. So we're going to take a look here. So far, so good. Nothing difficult in that corner. He does have very, very strong wave groups. Lots of waypoints there. And I do apologize for the construction going on next door. So if you can hear that, that's not me. I'm recording, sweetie. I can't put headphones on.
It's not going to affect you at all.
I'm talking.
Apparently, you can't hear what words coming out of your mouth.
So the base doesn't seem to be giving us any issues. We are sitting back a little bit to regenerate our HP. We have a couple of nice units. We have a nice stream of reinforcement troops coming up now. We do have plenty of time. This is 50 seconds or so. So we're going to come up here, start bringing out more cannons nonstop now. Summon the troops over to the side. Hopefully those guys can go after the firebolt tower in the top left right there. Doesn't look like they are. So now we're going to head over to this corner. And the cannons right there, reinforcements, take out that skull, able to take it down. So I can see now why he's so high, because I mean, even with a fairly sound strategy, we did only have about 14 seconds left to get to the end of the base. So you can see a nice haul of loot with our about 50% loot increase. The Chamber of Fortune has also increased in loot as well, so you're not going to see these, 10 and 15,000 anymore. You can see we got a 27 there and a 90, which is pretty nice. So yes, you can definitely get large amounts of loot in the Chamber of Fortune, and you get higher amounts of loot as you attack people higher in the leaderboards. So if you can defeat people in, say, like the top 100, top 50, your Chamber of Fortune is going to be a better payout. So you can see he dropped back down typically to the 200 range. So just like before, from 270 down to 200. The same drop. Everything is back to normal. We are getting a little bit, low amount of medals from him. That's probably because a lot of people have actually beaten his base. His base doesn't look very threatening. So again, we shouldn't be getting much metals over here either, because this Verkill one has gone to his straight base to probably accumulate some gems. Because even so, this base is fairly strong. If you would just add a little curve to it, you can make it even more deadly. So this is almost pretty much like paying homage to Dawn 1, who was probably the originator of the straight base design. For those that have been with me since the beginning, they've seen Dawn. Dawn was our favorite farming person for a good month or so, and he really, really perfected the straight base for gem accumulation. So you can see his base here has lots of fireball towers doing massive amounts of damage. All the troops get wasted. And if we're not careful, we die right there. Oops. Run, little guy! So my touch screen wasn't very sensitive, and it wasn't making me move. That was not me being dumb. That was the touch screen, okay? So the little guy didn't want to run. But you'll notice now we have an army of pyromancers, which you think would be good, but he has a good mix of units. He has a good mix of skull towers. So a whole army of pyromancers like that is not going to live that much. You can see most of them taking... They got past that part fairly well, but they are going to die right up here. Between the skull tower and the units. They're still hanging in tight right there, surprisingly. And we were able to heal them, so they will be back almost to full health. And there we go. So some close calls right there. But yeah, so the loot is back to normal. The loot is good. You can raid a couple times. You can upgrade things. No worries there. They got your back on that. Don't worry about that. They want to say don't. If something like that happens again, don't overreact. They will work on it. I know even I overreacted some. It was just more of player frustration, all building up due to a lot of other things, and that was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back. So they are aware of the loot situation. They're constantly looking at the loot situation, and they do want to make the game enjoyable. Contrary to what some people think, they don't want the game to die. So, because I know there's quite a few out there that all say they're trying to kill the game. It just doesn't make sense. Why would they want to kill off a huge money-making game with stupid decisions like making the loot nothing, so you have to buy gold to get anywhere in the game? No, they want the game to thrive and survive, and produce tons and tons of revenue for them. They are a company. They're trying to make money. So this is a very, very nice base here, loot-wise and metals-wise. So we're going to go ahead and try and attack him. We might need to change up our gold boosting items and go to different things. And so this is part of the fixes that they did. They allowed more metals for tougher bases. So we're swapping out some hero items, giving us a better chance at actually beating the base, because you get most of your loot from taking down the whole base, and the Chamber of Fortune also will get you a nice amount of loot. So you do want to beat the base. We can go ahead and favorite. We'll ignore since we don't have space. So going through this, a nice clip right there. The only thing is that it's fairly easy to counter that with bringing up a couple cannons and taking out that firebolt tower right there, which it should be a firebolt tower. This is kind of easy to hold off your troops back here, or call them forward so it can get past that choke point right there. He has a lot of firepower right here, which is good for him. So that's going to cause a lot of deaths. We're right in this area. Tons of R blasters. So he's going pure offensive DPS with the R blasters. Didn't look like any pyromancers in there, and very few mortars, which is surprising. Mortars are extremely powerful. So for this setup, we're going to want to use a lot more mortars ourselves to take out those orb blasters. The mortars have resistance. So once we do that, we're going to come over here and we're going to try and get these guys to target the firebolt tower over there in the corner. Didn't seem to work. So we'll head back there. We got one finally targeting it, and looks like we finally got it down, which is great. So now we can bring out tons of mortars. We're going to want to bring out a lot of mortars. And then after we have a couple mortars set up, we're going to want to bring out a lot of pyromancers now next. And we don't want to rush too forward because you can see we're going to die if we rush too much forward. So we're able to heal right here because all the mortars and the pyromancers are able to take down all the troops in that choke point, or most of the troops in the choke point. So now we've finally been able to clear it off. We've got some pyromancers coming through now. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to beat the base. We don't have as much time as we need. We do have some pyromancers that are creeping through now, which is perfect. This is what we need. We need these guys to come. Now we can just focus on attacking the skull towers. Leave all the firebolt towers alone and let the pyromancers attack the firebolt towers. You can see, unfortunately, he has his firebolt towers in a great position in the corners. The AI isn't that smart to really attack those corner bases with the pyromancers. So that's a nice tip to learn, is you want to kind of put the firebolt towers in those corner bend spots, because the AI of the pyromancer isn't that smart, and they don't necessarily go after those spots. So we're going to hold back just a second because we're not going to be able to beat the base, unfortunately. We will be able to take down that barrier, and we might be able to take down the skull tower right now. And no, barely. So unfortunately, couldn't get all the loot, couldn't get all the medals. Still a nice haul, 151,000, 182 medals. We took 14 trophies, and we are inching our way to level 75, which is going to be a really, really big celebration. And it's taken a lot longer this time to get to level 75, mainly because I haven't played this game a lot in the last week or so. And one of the reasons I've kept telling them is there needs to be incentives to be on top of the leaderboards. There needs to be something for first, second, third, top 100, top 1,000, things like that, so it makes people want to compete and move up. Right now, there's nothing that draws the players to striving to be number one in the world or striving to be in the top 10. There's nothing except for that little notoriety, the fake fame that comes with being number one. So there's nothing up there. If they offer a gym reward, or if they offer a medal reward, or if they offer something else, a cosmetic reward, any kind of award for being in the top, that would encourage people to want to actually be on the top. You can see we are 3470. We are 10th right now in our tournament. And in the leaderboards, we are rank 191. We can actually move all the way up to like rank 50 if we want to. If I wanted to play and push myself up there, I could be in the top 50 fairly easy with my attacking strategies and base setup correctly. But there's no real reason to be up there, and I haven't tested it. But before, the higher you got, the less loot that you actually got, and the bases that you fought were a lot harder. So there was no real purpose for being up high in the leaderboards. It was better to stay lowish and just farm away. And then when you're ready to move up, go move up. But there's still, again, no reason to be, number 3 in the world, or number 2 in the world, or even number 1 in the world. There's no reason whatsoever to be number 1, except for to say you're on top of the leaderboards, and then 5 minutes later, someone's gonna knock you off, or someone's gonna steal 10 of your trophies, and you're gonna be pissed. And it's not nothing to be fun about. It's more like an obsession, like a job. So we're gonna go back in and do one more raid so we can get out of the bottom 5 of those leaderboards. You can see a lot of bases are now, in the last couple days, seemingly have swapped things up, have gone to more like a straight base and kind of just like messed around. And that probably was due to the fact that the loot was messed up. So they're like, well, we can't get loot, so let's just kind of like mess around and we'll try and get some gems from people. So I think you probably will see that the bases will start going back to normal, into actually being, normal full bases and not straight bases in around a couple days, as people realize, oh, the loot's back, we can actually farm, we can actually move up in the game again, we can actually upgrade stuff. So good news though is the update is coming shortly. We will be seeing it probably within 14 days, and that comes with monsters. That comes with possibly 3 new troops. There was no new monster today in the sneak peeks, so we have the mummy, the werewolf, and the ogre. They all appear to be new troops. They all appear to be usable by us, in my estimations, because there's no troops that have the same kind of, AI or stat allocation like those guys. Like the werewolf is a fast unit, it says. So there's no unit right now that is like speed, that is all about fast and being speed and quick. There's no unit like that. And then the mummy is also like a tank style unit. We do have a tank unit, but this one says it's an undead unit. It says it's hard to kill, so we're expecting some special features, some bonuses, something to that nature of like an undead style. And then the ogre is someone that says it's hard to control. He has a dumb AI. This doesn't say he has a dumb AI, but he says he's dumb and that he does a lot of damage. So you can see there. So he's a big clunky unit that may have a funky AI that does a good amount of damage. So those are going to be really cool. Adding 3 new units to the game right now when there's only, I believe, 7 or 6 to 8 units right now in the game. So if you're adding 3, that's a whole like 33% increase in units. So it would be very, very cool. And there could be new towers as well. I do have my fingers crossed for new towers. That would be awesome. So this is going to about do it for this episode. We are going to come back with some other episodes and some more raids, collecting more loot, upgrading more things. As you can see, we have a lot of workers. They've been kind of laid off. They were on strike, and now we're going to put them back to work since the strike's over. So come back and hang out with us a little bit more later today and the next day, and thanks for watching.